Hey, what's up, everyone? There is a site that I recently discovered thanks to another YouTuber. It's called Real Clear Politics, and even some of the other sites have finally taken into consideration, taken into account what we see happening. Now, regardless of what is happening or whose side you're on politically or whatever, no matter what, there should be full transparency in any given election when it comes to the results. The people and those involved should have full confidence in the results. Those watching the tallies, those watching anyone counting the ballots. First of all, we live in 2020. And we can have instantaneous results at any given moment. We have people, not necessarily myself, but individuals out there have gigabit speed in this world. You can perform monumentous tasks like surgery, microscopic robot surgery. Robots can perform tedious tasks and surgeries over large distances, using radio frequencies, using fiber optics, light as internet connection. I mean, we thought satellite was a huge advancement, satellite conferences and video conferences, and then we went into the day where we have fiber optics, optical fibers transmitting data through light, through beams of light. Now they've moved on to microwave beam radiation. It's absurd, but they moved on to, we have gigabit. Let's just put it this way, we have gigabit speed internet, and you're telling me that in 2020 we can't have full transparency of election results? Regardless of who of any election the victor turns out to be, whoever turns out victorious, I do realize that in December is when the Electoral College, that's when they officially vote again, apparently. And then it's recounted again, sent to Congress, and it's sent to the Supreme Court, checks it out. All this stuff goes through constitutionally in early January, I think January 8th. And then that's what many people, the famous term, the second election that happened in 2016, from what I understand, it goes through a count, and they do a recount in December, and then late December, and then early January. All of this goes into play during elections, but you can find information about that on various sites. But the truth about it is, any president can take the election results to court. They can file a complaint, and they can file suit. They've done it many times before. It's legal. It's completely legal. And understandably, when you have any issue with a possibility of tampering, and you have evidence like we've seen, surmountable amounts of evidence regardless of whether or not news medias are saying there is, you have evidence shown from various news agencies. Look at Newsmax, the Next News Network, One American News, America Online News, Real Clear Politics, right here as I showed you. You can see other YouTube channels such as Gary Franchi talking about what's going on, and you see that there are ballots that were being dropped off, ballots being destroyed, people agreeing to not count ballots. You need full transparency in this, and you need to have not Republican watchers kicked out, no one kicked out. You need to have Republican and Democrat bipartisan watching taking place, because it's really sad how we've separated ourselves into categories and separated out in this world. Anyway, we have separated ourselves into so many different categories and groups in order to argue and divide. It creates more divisiveness in society. But what we need is full transparency, and definitely having ballot watchers making sure 100% that these things are counted properly, and that the Electoral College does their job properly, and that the votes of the people count properly. And the way it is right now, the way it's stated, is Georgia is doing the recount, full ballot recounts. The other states, I don't know about the other 4 or 5. I'm not sure right now. That's still in question. It's still in the courts. I hope it goes through. I hope they make sure there's transparency in this thing. But who's to say we'll ever really know? Will any of us ever really know? Will any of us ever really know how many were counted and what's really being counted legitimately and what is not? Because none of us can see it. We live in 2020. I mean, what I'm saying is, back to my statement previously that we live in 2020. So the fact that we live in 2020 and can have gigabit speed internet, and they brag about 5G. The fact that, I mean, you have all of these extreme speeds. We have speeds that you would not believe. And yet, they can perform a surgery at a distance. But yet they can't count ballots instantly? Many of us should be able to vote through a cell phone. Just like when we went and voted, my parents and I went and voted in this Church of Christ. We went in there, they counted our vote on a computer device, and we finalized the results by pressing the red button. We pressed that button, finalized it, and the results were in. They sent those results in immediately. But still, according to state law and federal law, the government law states that they are not to be counted until Election Day. It should be instantaneous. There should be no way around it. And you should be able to vote 7 days a week whenever the time is good for you. That's another thing. You should be able to vote not just on certain days, but whenever you can, starting at a certain period through that November date. Another thing is how much speed we have today through optical fiber cables, fiber optics internet. We have gigabit internet in this world. Not necessarily myself. I know 300 megabits per second is still enough to go, hey, let's put a result in. I mean, I can speak back and forth in communication with you all within an instant, and we can live stream, but yet we can't get an election result in immediately? That is not right. That is, I mean, for lack of better words, well, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm going to go ahead and say we need a better system to vote in this time. I mean, this wasn't enough to cause everyone to have to do mail-in voting, in my opinion. Mail-in ballots, that was a disastrous situation for everyone to have to do. I mean, we went in, we were fine. We went in, we voted, and we voted in person on a computer device. Everyone should heck, if everyone can't go in person, they should be able to have a phone or vote through a tablet, some sort of electronic device. You should have your number, your voting number, your voter ID number, whatever, and your number. And just like I did on the app with Mr. T, go on the app and say, I promise to vote for you, I'm going to vote for you, and then say when you did. Simple as that. He asked for the list of his voters. I mean, it should be as simple as that. There should be an electronic device, and we should all be able to say, in 2020, for crying out loud, we should all be able to say instantly and cast our vote. So apparently the current results on the election, Mr. T has gone up to 217. B and H have gone up to 259, gone down to 259. So if you want to find out the real results, go to realclearpolitics.com. That will show you the real results. This is frozen on me. I don't know what's going on, but that'll show you the real results. If you go there, that's where you'll find the real results. Go to realclearpolitics.com. and it gives you up-to-date news. Just like the fact that the one woman on Fox News, she got canceled and fired because she was about to do a segment exposing some of the examples of fraudulence in the system. All right, peace and signing out. I will be back with all of you as soon as possible. So these are the current results right here as it stands right now.